and a lot of them have agreed that there is a problem in the governance structure in Nigeria as to the cost of governance. You see litany of special assistant, assistant to the special assistant, advisor to the special assistant, assistant to the special advisor, and you see a lot of travels, and a lot of people have posited that this is where government money goes into, and that is the reason why there is so enormous money going into servicing people in government, not the people of the state. Would you be doing anything differently in terms of cutting cost of governance?
Absolutely. I have time and again spoken out, written about the cost of governance being a major problem in the country. And it applies to the federal government as well as it applies to state governments and all the way to local governments. And I believe that my presidential candidate did very well in Anambra State because he reined the cost of governance. And it's the same kind of model that we are going to run in Abia. We will not, there's only so many jobs you can create in the public sector. So when you are appointing 12,000 personal assistants and special assistants who basically don't have an office but collect money at the end of the month, you are just creating a problem for yourself. So we are going to run a very lean government. We are going to cut our code according to our size. We believe that it is the private sector that should be supported to create jobs. And whatever it takes to support the private sector, will do exactly that. But we are not going to run a bogus government. We are not going to get ourselves involved in very high cost of travel. There's a state that I looked at their numbers and I find that 2 billion naira was spent within a year to charter private jets. That does not make sense. I find that a lot of money is spent buying expensive wines and champagne and all that. That is also not responsible. So we are going to run a lean government. We are going to rein in cost of governance so that we have enough money released to support the economy.
So you might be using the Peter Obi template and also he's very popular of saying he doesn't give shishi. And I probably would like to ask you in that respect, say for Peter Obi, do you think you probably would have emerged winner in this time around?
Well, let me start by responding to, we know they give shishi. Yes, Labour Party, we know they give shishi. But that does not mean that we will be unreasonable. No, far from it. We will be very reasonable. Peter Obi is also very reasonable. He just doesn't throw away money. But any time that there is something that needs to be done with money, he will ensure that he gets maximum value for that money. And that may include going to the market to price it himself. So one of the engagements he had, he said you could not buy fuel if he was not seated in the car. Maybe he overdid it, but that is the kind of thing you need to do if you want to cut costs of governance. Now to the question of if I would have won without Peter Obi, well, I'll draw your attention back to 2015 when I ran under Abia. There was no Peter Obi and there was actually no presidential candidate. And we have it on record that I won that election landslide. So as at the time we were joining Labour Party, Peter Obi had not joined, and we didn't know that Peter Obi was coming to Labour Party, and it took about a week before he now called me and said he had just purchased the presidential nomination form and he was coming to Labour Party. So we are prepared to fight the way we fought in 2015 to ensure that we win. So the votes we garnered in Abia could have been helped by P2B. Maybe the margin would have been smaller. And that is why it is important to always acknowledge P2B, because he came to Abia about 4 times, 5 times really, to campaign for us, even before campaigns kicked off, when we did our annual banquet for the Executive Foundation, the foundation that awards scholarship every year, institutions. He came and he was part of it. That was in July last year. He came again for the flag of our campaign. That was in November. He came again and yet again. So I think he has done well for us. So both the obedience and himself, they actually did very well to support us. And that's why even the first election, out of the 8 House of Representative seats, we took 6 of them and sent some people on permanent retirement from politics. And then the Senate, we have 1 out of the 3. Hopefully we'll have another one by the time litigation closes. So P2B was a great addition to our campaign, but I can tell you that we have won election before in Abia State without him. And since things have gotten worse between 2015 and this time, I believe we will still have won.